Well, good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Sarnia Police Service Board meeting for Thursday, December 12th. And welcome to our guests and to those who are tuning in online. And a special welcome to our new board member, Anne-Marie Gillis, who actually was on this board 21 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So welcome, Councillor Gillis. She's an appointment from City Council. So I would like to start the meeting with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this land on which the Sarnia Police Service operates is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi nations, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. I'll ask the board if there's any declarations of conflict of interest.
None.
Seeing none, then we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. If I could have a motion to approve the agenda for today. Board Member Ash moves. Board Member Sebastian seconds. Questions or comments? All those in favor? That's approved. And then our minutes from our last meeting on November the 7th, a motion to approve. Board Member Ash moves. Board Member Sebastian seconds. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And those are approved as well. All right, so item number 6, report from City Council. This is not a standing item on our agenda, but I wanted to include it because City Council had the opportunity to deal with some matters that pertain to the Sarnia Police Service Board and this service. So just so that we can capture that in our records. So on November 18th, City Council approved a revised board member remuneration policy, and that policy aligns with the new Community Safety and Policing Act. So that takes effect April 1st, 2024. And at the same meeting, City Council also appointed Councillors Anne-Marie Gillis and Christy McRoberts. So their term is a 2-year term from December 12th, which is today, to November 14th, 2026. So congratulations to both of them. And then also want to mention on November 26th, City Council approved the Sarnia Police Service 2025 budget estimates. So that's nice to know that that process is complete and we can move forward in terms of our planning for 2025. So any questions or comments on those items?
I would just like to add that if the mayor decides to return, that I'm out at any time. Is that not?
Yes, so just a clarification on Board Member McRoberts' appointment. As part of that appointment, the mayor does retain the right to return to the board in her place, should he wish to do so. Yes, thank you. Okay, let's move on then to item number 7. That's our monthly operation update. Chief, I look to you.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Hanson.
Great. Good morning. Quite a bit. It's been busy, almost 2 months. First thing I'm going to talk about is from our operations division. Back in October of this year, we had a robbery on Lansdowne Avenue where 2 masked men entered a garage that was occupied by a couple of people. They were armed with a handgun and they stole some items from the garage. One of the suspects was identified. And then about 3 weeks later, we had officers investigating a stolen vehicle report. Officers were able to track that vehicle to Corona, where they were able to observe a person connected to the truck who turned out to also be the same person we identified for the robbery. So we've arrested that individual and he's charged now with the vehicle theft and the robbery on Lansdowne Avenue. The second item is a rash of break-and enters that we encountered in October. We've had several break-and-enters where stolen vehicles were being used to smash through gates to steal items such as industrial welders. One such occurrence happened on October 29th in the industrial section on Scott Road. The vehicle that was used was subsequently determined to be stolen and was found lit on fire in the bush area of the Elm John First Nation. So that's an ongoing investigation for us. We've connected it to other type similar break and enters, and we're hopefully one day do our next update. We'll have some good news for that. The other incident or thing I'm going to talk about is multiple shoplifting cases. So as you know, our community crime unit, where we have an officer dedicated to looking after retail theft, and members from the Lantern College who are volunteer students, they are working in this unit, and their efforts has actually identified multiple suspects involved in such crimes. And in one particular case, they linked an offender to as a serial thief involved in similar crimes across Lantern County, Essex, Windsor, Chatham, Kent. So that person has since been arrested, and just highlights the positive work that the CCU is doing for us. On October 30th, we had a bylaw officer that was assaulted at Rainbow Park. We had the individual responsible for that has since been arrested, was on conditions not to attend the park. That same individual, subsequent to being released, was found breaching, has been rearrested, and hasn't been seen at the park since. So we're hopeful that will not be the case in the future. But that individual was one of the enablers that has been attended the park. So I think that was a key thing for us. We move on to criminal investigations. In October, the major case action team, they concluded the investigation that resulted in the seizure of several firearms, ammunition, and a ballistic vest that had an old Sarnia police crest attached to it. We've determined that vest was not department issued. The police crests are readily available. There's trailers and collectors that can have access to them. So we don't believe that that's something that was our equipment, and there's no reports that this stuff was used to commit an offense. So not like the person was impersonating a police officer. I think it was more memorabilia and collectibles. But we did recover a registered handgun and a rifle in that case, as well as some ammunition. Another incident we had back in October, we had an individual who was wanted. That individual for property crimes and failed to comply with the release order. Officers observed this male riding a bike when they encountered him to arrest him for the warrants. He struggled and fought one of the officers. He assaulted the officer. That individual was then held for bail, released on bail, and one of the new initiatives that I have is an offender management unit pilot. So I have officers now that are actually going out and doing active offender management. And they went and did a compliance check on this individual. And when they did the address check where he's supposed to live, he was told that the individual had never lived there, and the person who was assured didn't live there anymore either. So as a result, we put another warrant out for the individual, as well as a warrant out for the surety, because the surety applied to the court. So we've got a warrant out for him actively now for obstructing justice. November was Intimate Partner Violence Awareness Month. Throughout the month of November, we worked collaboratively with the Women's Interval House and the Center to share some public education surrounding those very important issues on intimate partner violence and gender-based violence, as well as its impact on the community. I also did a recorded video with the center when they're talking about a Tuesday. So if you go to their website, you'd see the conversation that I had with them around IPVU matters. There was going to be a book launch that was taking place on December 5th, where an author of a book titled "Sometimes They Kill," surrounding IPV cases, was going to be released. That got postponed because of the snow. There'll be a future date for that. So when that does come, when that's made aware, I will certainly pass that on to the board. And there was a candlelight vigil that took place on the National Day of Remembrance and Action Against the Violence for Women. And Chief Davis and I believe Deputy Van Sickle were in attendance to that, representing us there. The other thing that you probably have read about is we arrested a former basketball coach for historical sex offenses against children. That individual resides in British Columbia. He was arrested by the RCMP. There was arrangements made for him to attend court remotely while in BC. He's currently charged with 7 counts of sexual interference, 3 counts of invitation to sexual touching, and 1 count of sexual assault. Eventually, that we're hoping, we did a media release, we're hoping that we would get more people come forward because we believe there are further victims. So I will probably have more update on that case in the next meeting. We had, in November 8th, we had an abduction where a male was taken against his will and kept in the basement of a townhouse on Kathleen Avenue. That individual managed to break free, called the police. As a result of that investigation, we arrested several individuals and charged them with a multitude of offenses, including kidnapping, robbery, and assault with a weapon. Chair, you were at the Remembrance Day ceremony, as I believe the other members of the board were as well. You recall we arrested 2 members, one of which was an outlaw motorcycle gang member for causing disturbance. That was in relation to their attendance and their desire to lay a wreath. They weren't invited and welcomed by the organizers, so they were trespassed, or they were enforced in the Trespass to Property Act. When they became unruly, they were subsequently arrested for their behaviors. The individuals actually were due in court. Their first appearances this morning, so I'm not sure what's happened with that, but again, I will give you updates on that as they become available. We had the major case action team continue a large drugs investigation. So about a month and a half ago, they investigated a drug trafficker, and they subsequently arrested her for obtaining a lot of drugs from her. They received further information about a storage locker that she was operating. They did a search warrant on the storage locker, and we recovered $132,000 in cash that was just in a box within the storage locker. So we've laid additional count proceeds of crime. So hopefully that will trickle its way through the courts, and that will end up going into to the provincial coffers and not the criminal coffers. We had a stranger sex assault on Kathleen Avenue on November 26th that created a lot of stir in the community. Very quickly, our investigators identified the person responsible, and he was taken into custody, and he remains in custody at this time. It was troubling and alarming for people in the community, and I believe this quick apprehension of that individual went a long way with assuring the confidence in the police and the safety of the community.
Just curious on that one, were the perpetrator and the victim, were they known to one another?
So initially, no. So when that actually happened, the victim in the matter did not recognize or know the person. Once we arrested the individual, he related that there was a historical, they knew each other from the past. She didn't recognize him. And I think he used that relationship as knowing where she was, who she was, and what she would be alone. So again, she was specifically targeted, but we didn't know that at the time. So when we did our initial release, we didn't know that. And we had to err on the side of caution. As you recall, years ago, Toronto had our versus Jane Doe, where they didn't do the community notification, and there was a lot of blowback on that. So we made it a priority to make sure we notified the community in that circumstance. I'm almost there. We had, as you know, we had an early morning stabbing that one male was subsequently pronounced deceased on December 1st at a rooming house on Queen Street. Again, that was resolved very quickly. I can tell you, even though we have an offender in custody and currently awaiting bail, as you know, people charged with murder don't get regular bail. They have to actually appear before a Superior Court justice to be determined whether they're eligible for bail. So this individual will be in custody for an extensive period of time, if not indefinite, until the charge is resolved. But again, this was something that the community was, they were concerned because of the amount of violence that we're seeing. So we're putting out regular updates on that to make sure that the community is aware that this is targeted. Sorry, it was an isolated incident. There's no public safety concerns for the broader community. And there was also some concerns about this being a race or hate-based or hate-motivated crime. I can tell you, in our official position has been that this has not been identified as being hate-based or racially motivated. Because before the courts, I won't speak specifics, but it's our belief that it's not. So there was some talk of a protest coming our way, a vigil. That has since changed. They're going to wait to see what happens with the justice, with how things go in court. As things unfold, they'll get a better understanding of what actually took place. But regardless, it's an unfortunate loss of life that didn't need to happen. So we are glad that we were able to resolve that very quickly. But again, there's still lots more work to be done, even though it's solved. There's a lot of still more things for the investigators to do. And then from the community outreach and engagement side, we had Cops for Cans 2024 on November 16th. We hosted the 13th annual Cops for Cans fundraiser at the end of the Good Show. So that was well received. And this year there was a total of 13,678 pounds of food, which was an increase of approximately 2,000 pounds of food from the previous year. And with that, that is the operational updates.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and lots of activity, as I can see. Just a small correction, I wasn't at the Remembrance Day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was Vice Chair Ash. But
We look alike, I know.
So I knew you would. I just,
yeah, and
Yeah,
I know, and I believe there were other board members present too. So I'll look to the board if there's any questions or comments on the deputy's report. Board Member Ash.
I would just like to make a comment. It has been a busy couple of months, 2 horrific incidences, but the resolve so quickly, I would hope goes to restore some of the faith with the community. So excellent job. Like it was nice to see that super fast resolve. Good job, Deputy.
pass that along to the people that did the hard work.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. And then we'll move on to the 2025 meeting schedule, Board Secretary.
Yes, I've just given you dates that fit into the criteria for the board meetings and hoping that works for everybody's schedule.
So, so this was patterned after the previous years. So we generally meet on the 4th Thursday of the month, and we took a look just to make sure there were no obvious conflicts. As you can see, there are a few months where there are meetings at the call of the chair if necessary. The board is well aware that we often have to meet in special closed sessions as matters arise, but this would be the open meeting. So could I have a motion to approve those dates, please? So Board Member Sebastian moves, and I think Board Member Ash had her hand up before you, Board Member
That's okay.
Gillis, but we'll get you next time. So all those in favor? Okay, that's great. All right, yes, I try to give everyone, obviously from the presentation earlier, share the love, I think was the expression. So, okay, that brings us to sort of a happy and a sad moment on the agenda. So board member recognition. So I'm going to move up to the podium here. So we have in our midst here Councillor and former board member George Vandenberg, and yeah, it's hard to imagine that 2 years has gone by so quickly. George was on the board over the last 2 years as a city council appointment. What's interesting about George as well is that he has some really interesting insights because he used to work for the Sarnia Police Force, I think it was called back then. I know board member Gillis talked about 21 years ago. How many years would that be, George, in terms of?
What did you want?
Would it be more than 21 years perhaps? Okay, all right. Yeah, and I would say, he has been able to provide us with a fair bit of historical perspective, and also because of his work for the police, a lot of really valuable insights as a board member. I've appreciated getting to know George over the past 2 years. As you're aware, we have board meetings that we attend, and that's not always, you can't really get to know people too well at a board meeting, but George and I and board member Ash had the opportunity to attend 2 conferences from the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards, and really at those conferences you really get to see what people are really like, and George was very likable at those conferences. I know that George, you're a very wise, you're a very caring person, and you really approach issues with integrity. So we are going to miss having you on the board, and but we are very glad that you continue to serve on city council, and we know that you'll continue to support the police service in your respective role there. So I'd like to call you up front here, and I've got a little presentation for you. Here you go, my friend. Thank you so much. And I would invite you to say a few words.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a good ride. It's been a really good ride. A little emotional. Yeah, I really, here I am. I can hardly talk, right? So, yeah, it's been a good ride. I'm glad to have been with you, Chief, with the deputies, with all the promotions, all the new people that we've seen here that's come together. I believe this is a really, really, really good police service. And, it's just, like I say, it's been a great ride. And I wish I could stay, but, there's other things. But I will be there for you to support you in all your endeavors. Welcome to the board, Anne Marie, Chrissy, back again. And I wish you all well. Thank you so much.
So I wanted to also ask the chief, and I'm putting you on the spot, Chief, but whether you wanted to say a couple of words with reference to George, and also there was that other item that I neglected to give you the floor for. So.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. George, thank you. It's always good to have the perspective of someone that's served. I know policing's changed a lot, but in many ways it's always stayed the same. So appreciate that perspective. And Councillor Gillis, Board Member Gillis, welcome to the Sarnia Police Service Board. A lot of great work has been done and much work is still to be done. So thank you for everything you got rolling, George. Welcome and all the best as we start to move things forward. With that, I have the privilege of sharing a promotion within the senior ranks of the Sarnia Police Service. I'd like to invite Inspector Vosberg forward. Tristan Vosberg was born and raised in Sarnia. He started his policing career with the Peel Regional Police Service in October of 1999. He worked in Peel in a frontline uniform capacity. After leaving Peel in 2001, he went back to university to upgrade courses for chiropractic school, where he eventually came back into the policing community in 2002 with the Halton Regional Police Service. You can't make it.
You were here first.
We saw that
He was involved in frontline uniform policing and street crime units in Halton until 2006 when he transferred to the Sarnia Police Service. Came back home. Since becoming a member of the Sarnia Police, Tristan's been a part of several different units within the organization. He's worked in the frontline community response division as constable, court services as an acting supervisor, and the vice unit and criminal investigations division as a detective constable. He was promoted to the rank of sergeant in April 2018 and was assigned as one of the detectives in the criminal investigation branch. In January of 2020, Tristan was transferred to the vice unit as the detective in charge of that unit. In July of 2021, Tristan was promoted to the rank of staff sergeant, where he was transferred to the community response division in charge of A platoon. That's the letter A, platoon number 1. In January of 2024, Tristan was assigned to the role of staff sergeant in charge of professional standards, the community crime unit, alternate response unit, property quartermaster audits, and quality assurance. We like to share many hats. In December of 2024, just a few days ago, Tristan was promoted to the rank of inspector with the Sarnia Police Service, in charge of the operations division and professional standards commencing January 1st. He's looking forward to the new challenges in the new year for this position, and there are many challenges ahead. Tristan would like to thank his family, Abby, Lincoln, and Bennett, his kids there, his wife and kids, and his father, Doug, stepmother, Marielle, for the love and support they've shown him throughout his career. Without the support from them at home, he would not have been able to achieve his accomplishments throughout his policing career. So, Tristan, congratulations, Chief.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Looking forward to the new year and new challenges and accomplishments working together. So,
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
okay. All right, that brings us to our open forum. I'll look to the board if there's any items that or questions that people want to raise at this time. Okay, seeing none, then we will move to closed session. In our closed session, we'll deal with 3 items. 1 with respect to labor negotiations, 2 an HR update, and 3 a secondary employment report. So look for a motion to adjourn to closed. So that's Board Member Gillis and Board Member Sebastian seconds. All those in favor? Okay, we'll adjourn and we'll start the closed meeting in just a few minutes. Thank you.